everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to do a sit down video talking to you about a new musical that I've seen twice recently, so as I'm sure you can tell, I enjoy it. Recently I've really enjoyed going to the theatre and not having to worry about vlogging. It really helps me just enjoy my theatre trips a lot more, which is weird because then I feel selfish about not vlogging. But that's why I wanted to sit down and talk to you about this new show today, because you know what I'm like, I love supporting new shows, I love seeing new musical theatre, and I feel like I need to talk about this one because I feel like it's bit of an underdog at the moment. Not many people have heard about it, so I'm hoping that by me doing this video, hopefully you'll learn about the show if I explain it well enough, but also if you can, it might intrigue you to go and see it, which I would love for you to do.
I hear her whispering in the deep, telling me to leave. She calls to me, she's singing, girl, you got a spark, get out of the dark, and then you'll see.
I recently saw Mythic at the Charing Cross Theatre for the first time, and just this past weekend I actually saw it for a second time with a friend of mine because he is a massive fan of this show and said, do you want to come see the show with me again? And I was like, yeah, okay, I will. I can't remember exactly how I first heard about Mythic, but I remember seeing the posters at a couple of tube stations and thinking, oh yes, that's now on, I must try and see it. I find it really fascinating that there's been some like trends of shows at the moment. Like I put a tweet out sort of August time about the fact that in September there was so many shows about women in history, which obviously I love, I'm all about that. So yeah, you could see in one weekend like 3 or 4 different shows all about women's history, and now over kind of the course of this year, actually, there's been a lot of musicals and pieces of theatre about like Greek mythology. So I love going into shows like this and really learning about things, which sounds ridiculous, I know. I don't know that much about Greek mythology, so seeing something like Mythic, I've also seen Hadestown recently. There was a show, I think it was called Orpheus, on at some point this year. There's also been Myth, which I saw at the Other Palace, which was previously called 27, but that's also based on a Greek myth. I just find that really fascinating. Mythic has definitely been the most upbeat piece of theatre to do with Greek mythology that I've seen this year, which was a really welcome change, and I should have really expected that from the poster, but I didn't expect it to be as sort of like pop and contemporary musical theatre as it is. It's a 90-minute musical, which I absolutely love at the moment. I never used to be a fan of one-act musicals, but recently, especially if I'm seeing something during the week, if I can be home by like 10 o'clock, that is a dream. That is amazing, and I'm here for it. So to be honest, that was one of the main selling points for me seeing Mythic the first time. I think it was like a Monday, and I was like, oh, I can be home by 10 o'clock tonight but still see a show. I know that's really bad, but that's what sold me on seeing it for the first time. Anyway, let me tell you what the show is actually about and stop rambling. So Mythic tells the tale of Persephone and her mum Demeter. So it's very much like a coming of age story, which I completely wasn't expecting from the show. Mythic basically starts as Persephone is obviously like a teenager, and her mum Demeter wants her to follow in her footsteps, but she's like not about that. at all. And she wants to rebel, she wants to go to a party with the other gods. She feels very left out because even though she's technically a god, like her mum doesn't want her to be. So she rebels, she goes to this party, she meets Aphrodite, and Aphrodite then makes her and Hades fall in love. Because Aphrodite's got some dad issues with Zeus and he just doesn't care. He's a really bad father figure. So yeah, she tinkers in Hades and Persephone's, wow, so many names, and Persephone's life and makes them fall in love, which then makes Persephone go down to the underworld. Ooh, so dramatic. And Demeter basically can't go after her because she's scared, but also because she'll lose her powers if she goes to the underworld. So yeah, lots of family dramas, lots of like love stories, and Persephone kind of finds herself in the underworld, and that's the myth basically. And this would be a great show to do a 2-show day with Hades Town, because then you see more of Persephone and Hades in Hades Town, obviously, as well. So just a little thought there if you happen to be in London in the next few weeks. Just an idea for you there. But yeah, as I say, the story, even though it had some tense moments, it was never like really heavy. It was just really enjoyable. Because I don't know much about Greek mythology, the story felt very like new and fresh to me, and I really enjoyed the way that it was told. So as I say, it was like pop, contemporary musical theatre. It was just so much fun, and I wasn't expecting it to be as much fun as it was. And I'm really glad that that was the case. There's also a good amount of drama amongst the coming of age story, you know, the rebellion, the falling in love. It's theatre, of course there's going to be some drama. Because the Charing Cross Theatre isn't huge, it was quite a simple set design, but I really liked it. The only thing I would have loved to have seen, which is not possible really in this venue, but if it were on like a split level, because I just think that some of the choreography pieces in terms of showing the split journeys between Persephone and Demeter trying to get Persephone back, there were some very repetitive moves, but I think if you had a split level, it would also really highlight the fact that it was like the underworld and then like the earth. That could have been a bit cheesy though as well. I think it would have to be done like really well to pull it off. But I think that would have looked really cool visually. I did like what they had with the set though, and they had these really cool lights going up the back wall and through the stage, sort of like, I don't know what the lights are called, but they were like embedded in the stage, like sort of strip lights. I really liked those. It kind of felt a bit like the cracks in each level, like Earth and Underworld. Don't know if that's what they were going for, but they looked cool. It also meant that the use of lighting was really nice, and it just didn't feel like a cluttered set, which was great. And I just hate when some shows don't have a lot, but then they try and do like loads of scene changes to make it be like, look at us, we've got loads going on, when actually then that detracts you from the story and the performances. So I'm glad that they didn't go along that route. This show has such a good cast, especially Georgie Westall, who plays Persephone. I've seen her in shows before, but in like much smaller roles. So to get to see her in a main role, she has got an incredible voice, and I am just absolutely blown away by her performance in this show. Also, talking of the songs, I'd like a cast recording please, because the songs are really catchy and I just want to listen to them again and again and again.
Your parents is a mystery. It's elusive. It's darkness. See the grains of mutually exclusive. It's darkness. Even though they never meet to be. Families are so intrusive. Try to bring your kids up right. Try to grow up without a fight. But ever since the dawn of man, yes, ever since the world began, there's been this ungodly plan. Set like a monolith, fracturing kin and kith. You think you and your mum will be fine, but it's a myth.
I also thought that Daniela Bowen as Demeter had a fantastic voice, and just really enjoyed actually that looking at the programme, there's only a few faces that I really recognise that I've seen in shows before. So that's always super nice to see new people in a show. Oh my god, also Ben Welch. Have I seen him in anything? No, I haven't. He was hilarious, like so funny. I just really enjoyed this show. Also, I'm going on random tangents here and there. Leo Senna? Not sure if I'm saying your surname wrong or correctly, I am sorry. I actually saw him play Hades the first time I saw the show, and it was his debut, and I had no idea because he was so good. So Leo, if you happen to be watching this, you were brilliant as Hades, and congrats on an amazing debut, because I literally had no idea that that was your debut. That was great. It's a fantastic cast and they're really putting their all into it. I know the show hasn't been selling too brilliantly, and it must be so hard to perform to like a quiet audience or not as full an audience, so like kudos, that's got to be really tough. Yeah, I really enjoyed this show, and they've just extended, which is fantastic. So it's now on until I believe the 15th of December. As I say, it's at the Charing Cross Theatre. So if you're coming down to London, or if you live nearby and you just want to see a really fun 90-minute musical, I highly recommend Mythic. Also, look how pretty this programme is. It's just so pretty. I love it. Yeah, I'm going to try and see it again before it closes. That's how much I enjoyed it. And I'm trying to not repeat these shows as much nowadays. So that says a lot, I think. If you've been to see Mythic at the Charing Cross Theatre, I would love to know your thoughts on the show, or if you're hoping to see it now that it's extended, again, let me know in those comments down below because I'd love to know. If you've enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more of me in the future. I hope you're all doing really well, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!